For a long time, people have asked me what are the best IV sets to keep, what are the best IV sets to evolve, and what Pokemon with what IVs are worth investing your resources into. Today, we're gonna answer that question. Let's get into it. Timestamps below as always. First of all, I just wanna say the most important thing about this video is that IVs in the grand scheme of things don't make a huge difference. The only time you should really be caring about IVs is if you are playing really high levels of PvP, rank 22, rank 23, rank 24, really high competitive, trying to go onto that leaderboard in which you need every edge to get the win. Or if you're doing a short man raid, so if you're doing a duo or really hard trio against a Cresselia or something like that, that's when IVs will actually come into play. However, for the average casual player like maybe yourself, in the end, the only thing IVs do to your eyes is just make your OCD trigger a bit if you don't have that 100%. So feel free to ignore me completely if you want, as in the end, IVs are not gonna make a huge difference, but let's go through for any of you guys who actually care, or for any of you who actually really wanna make sure you have the strongest Pokemon. Now, there are two types of IV sets that you want to keep as a Pokemon Go player. First one being something I call high IVs, which just means like a 3-star Pokemon with generally high IVs in attack, defense, and stamina. I mark my high IVs with .M and then the percentage it has. So for example, here we have a 96% Phalanx, a 96% Magnemite, 96% Seaking. These I just call high IV Pokemon. That's one IV set you want to keep. The other one is going to be PvP IVs. Now, PvP IVs are generally going to be low attack, high defense, high stamina. If you don't know why you want these IVs, and these IVs are actually better for Pokemon when you're using them in the PvP, I have a video up here and I will link it below explaining that. So you're going to want to watch that if you don't understand why low attack, high defense, high stamina is actually a preferred IV set for Pokemon in PvP. It is case by case. There are certain Pokemon that max out under a league CP cap, so you want a hundo, but let's just go with this for now. Pretty much PvP IV sets are the other IV sets that you want to keep. So pretty much when I'm going ahead here and looking through all my Pokemon, if it doesn't have a generally high IV, like kind of like this one, or if it has a PvP IV set like this one, it's a little low attack, high defense, high stamina, then I'll completely disregard it. Like for example here, this Caterpie that has 15 attack, 1 defense, like 9 HP. I'm just going to transfer that because I would never use that. The only time I would keep a Pokemon like this maybe is if I want to trade it in the future. So those are the two types of IV sets you want to keep, but let's take a deeper dive into those IV sets. What are the exact numbers you want on attack, defense, and stamina to have the best out of each Pokemon? First, let's talk about if you're going to be using that Pokemon for raids. Now, if you're using a Pokemon for raids, the most important stat to have is going to be 15 attack. When using a Pokemon for raids, I want to make sure that attack stat there is dark red and completely maxed out, because attack is what matters in raids. You're going to be doing damage, and the higher your attack stat is, the more damage you're doing, the more DPS you're doing, the faster the Pokemon goes down, less heals you have to use, etc, etc. I would take a Pokemon with like 15 attack stats, 13 IVs in defense and stamina, over a Pokemon with 14 attack and 15 in the other two any day of the week for raids. For actually caring about IVs, attack is the most important stat to have when using a Pokemon in raids. So when choosing a Pokemon to use in raid battles, for example, if I were to evolve this into a Magnezone, I want to make sure I have 15 attack, and then the other two stats, I just want to make sure are as high as possible. So for example, here I have 15 defense and 13 HP. Here, same thing, you know, we got a 15, 14, 15 here. I just want to make sure that attack stat is 15. The other two stats, I just want to make sure are generally high so that, you know, you don't have the weakest defense ever and your Pokemon is still generally strong, but 15 attacks most important. And also, I usually only evolve 3-star Pokemon and up for raid attackers. A 3-star with 15 attack is generally going to be good for a raid attacker. Now, the other instance you're going to want to have these high IVs like we mentioned before is going to be when you're doing PvP in the Master League. In the Master League, there's no CP cap, in which means you want to have the strongest Pokemon with the strongest IVs, as that's how you're going to be able to compete with the other person's Pokemon. Now again, in Master League, having that 15 attack is going to be one of your biggest priorities, because in the Master League, you see a lot of mirror matches, which means when you put out your Groudon and they have a Groudon, and when you're in a mirror match, since both these Pokemon have the same base attack stat, the IVs are really going to matter, because the person with the stronger IVs is the one who's going to win the match. Specifically, the attack IVs are the most important, because there's something in PvP called CMP tie. CMP tie is when two people click the charge move at the exact same time, the Pokemon with the highest attack stat will get to throw that charge move first. So if you have 15 attack on your Pokemon, you will make sure that you are winning or at least tying for CMP tie. You heard me say the word tying. Well, the word tying pretty much means that both Pokemon have the exact same attack stat, in which then it'll just be randomly choosing who goes first. So you want to make sure you have at least 15 attack, so that if your opponent Pokemon has 15 attack, you guys are tying for CMP tie, and at least you have a chance to throw your charge move first. If you were to have 14 attack, you would be losing CMP tie each time, and you would easily lose that matchup each time, since the opposing Pokemon is always throwing their charge move first, which means you're generally winning that matchup. matchup. But in Master League, the other IVs are very important. Defense and HP are very important to have high as well, because you're gonna be taking charge moves. I think in the Master League, it's really, really important to have at least a 98 or a 96 or like one of these really high IV Pokemon, as this is where those IVs can really make a difference in that mirror match. There's also these things called breakpoints, which I maybe will make a video on in the future, in which when a Pokemon hits a certain attack or defense breakpoints, they'll be taking an extra damage from each fast move from the opposing Pokemon. If you want to see a video on that, comment below. That's the more advanced stuff there. But in general, I'd say for Master League, just have 50 attack and the other two IV stats as high as possible. Usually I only use 98s and 96s and 100% IVs in PvP in the Master League. Now, before we move on, let's talk about specifically different IV sets, because people have asked me, hey, what's the difference between a 96 like 14, 15, 14 and a 96 like 15, 15, 13? You know, we both have the same total IV percentage. However, the IV spread is different. What's the difference between all these and which one's the best to evolve? Now, again, I'm always going to say that any Pokemon with 15 attack is going to be a priority to evolve. So for example, you can see that the only ones I keep here are ones with 15 attack, except these ones here, but all my Pokemon here have 15 attack. Now, let's say we have a 15 attack and then a 14 defense and a 15 HP compared to a 15, 15, 14. What's the difference between these two Pokemon? The difference here is going to be this one's going to have higher HP and this one's going to have higher defense. Now, 9 times out of 10, I would recommend a 15 HP 98, just because HP actually adds 1 point of HP and it's actually a visible addition and strengthening to a Pokemon. When it comes to defense is a more complicated thing to calculate. HP is going to be your hit points, how many you have. Defense is going to be how much damage you're taking. And sometimes adding 1 point of IV into your defense won't actually make a difference in between the damage you're taking because of the things we talked about before, which are breakpoints. So 9 times out of 10, I always recommend a 15, 14, 15 in terms of 98. But again, it's not going to make that huge of a difference. This one still works pretty well. When it comes to 96s, you have the option, of course, for a 15, 15, 13, or you can even do a 15, 14, 14 or a 15, 13, 15. In general, I just want to make sure that my Pokemon has the highest HP. I would say is going to be the second most important stat generally for raids and for PvP. In the end, it doesn't make that big of a difference, but that would be my preferred method. With that out of the way, guys, let's get into the PvP IVs and what are going to be the best choice of PvP IVs to evolve. Well, it's very simple when it comes to PvP IVs. I want you guys to go to this website, which I am going to link below for you guys, and let me show you how to use it. It's going to be the Go Stadium IV Checker, and pretty much, you don't know, PvP IVs, there is a huge list of rankings for each Pokemon in which one set of IVs is going to be better than the next set, and it's going to keep going down until all the IV sets, which I believe there's like 4,000 different IV sets for each Pokemon. Let's take a look at Magnezone, for example here. So we're going to search Magnezone. We can choose what league we want to be running it. So let's say we're choosing a Great League Magnezone, because each league is going to have a different set of PvP IVs. You also search how many search results want to appear. But pretty much in here, you can either input your IV set, so you can find out how good your IV set is. So let's say you have a 0, 12, 9, and then you can recalculate, and it'll show you all the IV sets and what rank of yours. Let me explain, because that's a bad explanation. First of all, here we have the rank 1 IV set for the Great League, since we chose Great League. A 0, 13, 15 is going to be the best possible IV set you have for a Magnezone in the Great League. The one we chose, of course, is a 0, 12, 9, which is rank 582 out of 4,000, which is not terrible. And then it's going to keep going down. Obviously, we only chose to show 10, but if we choose 250, we can see the top 250 IV sets, what are the best ones. When it comes to PvP IV sets, I really only keep and evolve anything in the top 100. Of course, it's not super important for you guys, but what I would do here is I would come to my Pokemon, for example, here, this Wooloo. I would go ahead, this is a 0, 13, 12. So I'm going to come back in here. I'm going to search Dubwool, because this is actually for the evolution, of course. It's a 0, 13, 12. We're going to recalculate. That's for the Great League. And here it's going to show me it's a rank 5, 0, 13, 12 for the Great League. So we have a rank 5 here. Pretty much anything here that's in the top 100. So 100 going up. Of course, I'm only going to keep the highest rank one. Like, there's no point in keeping a rank 5, but then also keeping a rank 39, since I'm going to be using the rank 5. That's how I go ahead and choose what PvP IVs to keep. Now, I will say, when I do have the Pokemon and I catch a good PvP IVs, for example, the Wooloo on screen right now, I'm not going to go ahead and evolve that until I actually want to use that Pokemon. And this goes for pretty much any Pokemon you want to evolve when you're choosing what's the best IV set to evolve. If you don't have a good enough IV set, or even if you do have a good IV set, if you're not going to use that Pokemon yet, don't evolve it, because in the future, Pokemon can get community days, can get special legacy moves. If you evolve it, you won't be able to get that legacy move, except if you use an Elite Charge TM or Elite Fast TM. So you want to go make sure you keep all these Pokemon. You don't go ahead and just gung-ho evolve them, so you can have them in case of legacy moves. With that being said, guys, I hope that answered your question, but if you do have any more questions about what IV sets to evolve, If you have a specific scenario, please comment them below. I'd love to know, and I'd love to help you guys out. I hope this video explains some things to you guys. I will be making a video shortly on how CP works, how IVs work, how to calculate all this stuff, as I did make a video about this in the past, but I want to make a better one. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be coming out hopefully next week, but we'll see about that, guys. I really appreciate y'all watching. We're going to see you in the next one. Follow for more tips, baby. Peace.